Hello, everyone. This is Jay Coder back with another stream. And yesterday we were working on UI testing with the Tip Time app. And so yesterday we were getting an error. So I solved the error for today's stream. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So for in the project, we had our instrument test. And so inside our instrument test here, we actually had the when we tried to reference these IDs, we had to do r.id. And then our UI element to access it. And so it was saying R was an unresolved reference. So in the actual code lab, it told us to make a package called example.tiptime. And so that package actually did not match up with the package that we already created. So since that package did not match up, it could not read what R was. So I had to make the calculator test in the correct package, which is in the sample.tiptime instead of example.tiptime. The sample.tiptime was already created, and so we need the R references this package in order to be able to be seen. So, all right, now we should be good to go to continue the tutorial here. And so, all right, so I have the music muted. All right, let's actually go ahead and continue with what we were doing. And so, okay, so it had us create this code to go through the UI test. It says if you're using an emulator, make sure that you can see both the emulator and your Android Studio window at the same time. Run the test the same way that you run unit tests by right-clicking the red green arrow button to the left of the function and selecting the first option and watch what happens. Alright, let's go ahead and test it out for ourselves here. Um, and if you're just now tuning in, this is the code that we need inside our class. And if you need to catch up, please reference the previous video that we had. And also, I'm going to post the link to the chat as well so that you all can be able to reference it. And so, okay, all right. And then now, what we can do here is we're going to go ahead and test it out here inside our Android Studio. And let's see what happens. So I'm going to hit this arrow here and then run calculator tests. Then we are running the calculator test. I have my emulator down here, so I'm going to drag this emulator up here. And so it's right now it's launching, well, building, and then it's downloading some things and loading right now. So once it's ready, it should go ahead and kick off the process here. Okay, I didn't type that. It did that by itself. So it typed a 50 in there, and then it was checking to see if, the correct amount was 10 when you chose the 20%. And it looks like, with the green check marks, the actual test passed. So that's great. So that's great. It's the UI test is like a bot that takes control of the screen and acts as the user and automatically puts the input in for you and then checks if the result is correct. And it can also do that much faster than a human, which you can see that it took care of that operation in probably only a couple seconds. All right, so that's what a UI test appears like. So, okay, now you can see that the test executes as if someone was interacting with the app itself. Expand your test suite. Congratulations, you got your first instrumentation test to work. If you are up for a challenge, you can expand the test suite by adding functions that test the other tip percentages. Use the same format as the function we wrote above. The only changes you need to make to write the code to select a different percentage option and to change the value passed into contain string to account for the different expected results. Don't forget that there is also an option to round up. You can toggle the round up switch by finding the components by its ID, as we demonstrated with on view with ID and clicking it. So, alright, and there's the complete solution code here in case you guys missed it. I'm gonna go ahead and post this actually also in the chat as well, so that people can be able to reference that. So I'm gonna go ahead and post that in the chat here. And this was the solution code. And so the solution code I have posted. Then let's go ahead and go to next. And in summary, Android Studio generates the necessary test classes when the project is created. However, you encounter a project that doesn't have them, you can create them manually. Test rules run before every test in a test class. Expresso is a fundamental component of instrumentation tests. It enables interaction with UI components using code. This was a long lesson. Give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. Actually, that lesson wasn't that long. But anyway, the Expresso Basics are here. And if you want to explore more on how you can control the automated operations on the UI for testing purposes, you can look through this Expresso tutorial. I'm sorry, Expresso documentation. And I'm going to go ahead and post this in the chat as well so that you all can also reference. That's the Express Expresso documentation. Okay. Perfect. All right. And so, let's see what else. Okay. So, um, yeah. So basically, that's going to be it for this code lab. And we can go ahead and, you know, take a look at how this is built. So they have us to choose this for this is the activity. And so then they had us create this method, the test, calculate 20%, and then they we got the edit text field, and then we entered 50 automatically. Then we performed the click on the calculate button, and then we referenced the tip result and wanted to check if it was correctly 10, which it was, which it passed. And then you can make similar tests, such as, the calculate the other percentages as well, and make them each their own method. And then you can play one method at a time to be able to test out your UI. And so yeah, UI tests are pretty cool, and it's pretty quick, and you don't have to manually do it yourself all the time, and it's especially helpful if your application is really big and you want to make sure, like, especially when you add new features to the app, you want to make sure that something else wasn't broken in the app. And so the UI, if you automate these UI tests, you can quickly see if something broke or not from the new features that you added. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, stay coding. All right. Peace.